Bonjour. I'd like to go back again to the objet direct and reinforce a few things. Well, to reinforce placement. When I talk about placement, I mean it's where you place it. Where you place the direct object, or really any object, is directly in front of the verb that it came after. You know, there's always a relationship between a verb and an object. And I'm looking ahead here to an indirect object as well. So the verb in this sentence that we have in front of us, it's a long sentence. You have Alexis saying to Claire, "J'ai vu une jeune femme charmante, avec un beau sourire, et j'ai voulu la rencontrer." Rencontrer is the verb that we're interested in here, because he's not saying I wanted her. He's not being that seductive. He's saying I wanted to meet her. He's not saying I saw her. He's saying I wanted to meet her. He's using the objet direct so that he doesn't have to repeat une jeune femme again and again. He's not having to say j'ai vu une jeune femme, j'ai voulu rencontrer une jeune femme. J'ai vu une jeune femme charmante avec un beau sourire, j'ai voulu la rencontrer. It always comes before. And remember, it can be le, la, and les for the direct objects. It can also be me, te, you, nous, and vous. In this case, it's not quite the same thing as j'ai voulu la rencontrer, and I can't really give you, when I say, for example, I'm speaking, no, that's not a good verb to use. I'm looking at you. Je vous regarde. It's hard for me to give an example otherwise. I can't say je regarde vous. In these cases, with me and te and nous and vous, it's built in. If I want to say I'm looking at you, I need that you to come before the verb in French. Je vous regarde. Or if I'm looking at you singular, je te regarde. He's looking at me. Il me regarde. He's looking at you. Il vous regarde. He's looking at them. Il les regarde. Now let's look again at the different orders that we can have. Perhaps the most challenging is the one that comes up in that little box, essayer. Oh, I don't know where it is. About imperative. When we make a sentence in the imperative, we're kind of changing things up in the imperative. No, excusez-moi. I'm not finding what I want immediately. Oh, silly. It was right here. In the imperative, when we give someone an order, we are changing around the order quite significantly. We're taking out the subject pronoun to begin with. Instead of saying je lis, or I'm saying to you, lis. Instead of saying tu lis, I'm saying lis for read. Or vous lisez, I'm turning it around, lisez le journal. Now, in a sense, you already have, you've got the subject pronoun omitted to make it an imperative, and you say lisez le journal, regardez la télévision. Strangely, all you have to do is keep the le, and you just knock out the journal, and you put in a hyphen, un trait d'union, and it says lisez le. Because of that hyphen, it's making it very clear that I didn't just forget to write in the rest of the word. I am specifically designating it as it. I'm not using the word. I'm using a direct object. Lisez-le. Regardons-les. Regardons les films. I'm not just kind of stopping before the end of my sentence. Regardons-les. No. Regardons-les. Notice something. This is one case where the direct object for me is moi. Regarde-moi. Regarde-toi. The me and the te in the imperative become like stress pronouns. Moi and toi. Écoute-moi. Regarde-toi. Look at yourself. And this only happens, though, in the infirmative, that you have these slight changes of rules. Once you go back to the negative, it's as if it goes back to being normal again. The sentence is the same as a normal declarative sentence, with the exception that you don't have the subject pronoun there. So if the affirmative command is regarde-moi, the negative command is you put in the ne, and then you me regarde pas. If the affirmative is lisez-le, the negative is ne le lisez pas. Once you go to the negative, once again, the object, the direct object or indirect object or whatever it is, once again comes before the verb. As an object, it's replacing an object that usually comes after the verb in the sentence. Now it once again comes before the verb, as if it was a normal sentence, with the exception that the subject pronoun is omitted to form the imperative. Ne me regarde pas. Ne le lisez pas. And let's just go back again and continue to look at how that principle of this object that you use, this direct or one day indirect, always comes right before the verb that it is related to. We see it here with the simple sentence, je les achète. We see it in the passé composé, j'ai aimé, je t'ai aimé, je vous ai aimé, I loved you, je vous ai vu, I saw you. With the passé composé, it always comes before the verb, and that means it comes before the auxiliaire, because remember the auxiliaire is kind of at one with the verb in the passé composé. The auxiliaire doesn't serve as its own verb. So if I say I read the journal, you would say j'ai lu le journal, je l'ai lu. J'ai vu Martin, je l'ai vu. J'ai regardé la télé, je l'ai regardé. J'ai mis la table, je l'ai mise. If I negate, je ne l'ai pas mise. Je ne l'ai pas vue. Je ne t'ai pas vu. The participe passé always has the final say. And if we have a double verb sentence, j'aime regarder le journal. J'aime le regarder. You're just focused on whichever verb is related to the object. This can also be when you say something like j'ai besoin du journal. No, that's not a good example. J'ai besoin de goûter le gâteau. J'ai besoin de le goûter. you're saying j'ai besoin de goûter le gâteau. But gâteau comes before goûter, not before j'ai besoin. J'ai besoin de le goûter. J'ai besoin de la voir. I need to see her. Or I need to see whatever this feminine object is. So you have sentences. Question personnelle. Avez-vous envie de l'essayer? Do you feel like trying it? Est-ce que tu as envie de goûter le poulet frit? J'ai envie de le goûter. Non, je n'ai pas envie de le goûter. Now here you don't have the contraction like you usually would, like du. Here they're two separate entities. J'ai envie de le goûter. J'ai envie de les goûter pour les merguez. J'ai envie de les goûter pour les oreilles de Chris. Voilà. Or, pour les cuisses de grenouille, je n'ai pas envie de les goûter. Voilà. I just wanted to straighten out these concepts before we move on in the next lesson to the indirect object as well as the I and the on. Bonne journée.